Friends, welcome to this recorded conversation between Jacob Armstrong, founding pastor of Providence United Methodist Church of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and yours truly. I'm Don Smith, Horizons Stewardship, the Senior Vice President for Horizons. And we're here today because Jacob and I have a history.
Yeah.
About 12 years ago, I had the privilege of being the new church start coach for Jacob and his team at Providence, and it's been a joy to see all that God has done through this congregation and through Jacob's leadership during this relatively brief period of time. And we're sitting down today virtually after 1 month of moving from in-person worship to online worship. And I just wanted to visit Jacob with you a little bit to talk about the past month, but with a focus on the weeks and months to come. So thank you, Jacob, for being with me today.
Thanks, Don. It's great to be here, and continued gratitude for our connection and friendship, and also just with Horizon Stewardship, who we have had a great relationship and partnership with as a new church and building a new church and all that. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Jacob. It's been about 3 weeks since you distributed a video. I think March 23rd was the drop date. To your congregation, specifically addressing the topic of financial generosity. And in the video, you offered a lot of options for people to give, including writing a check and mailing it to the church, right? That's still an option.
Yes.
But you also invited the people of Providence Church to consider giving recurring gifts. And you said something like, my wife Rachel and I are doing this, and I'm encouraging you. And you actually showed them how to sign up for a recurring financial gift electronically. So 3 weeks later, here we are. Talk about how the people of Providence have responded to that invitation.
Yeah, that's a great question. We've had a wonderful response, and I think I'd like to back up just a little bit. That, like a lot of pastors, when we went into not meeting in person anymore, it wasn't hard to look and see and think about the financial impact of that. We have been working towards people having recurring online gifts for some time, like a lot of folks, but we had still sat, even as a new church, we had about 40% of our regular giving was coming in online, and 60% in the baskets or the plates that are passed on Sunday morning. So you can imagine, just as a pastor, when we go in, we're not meeting. I know that now 60% of what used to come in is not going to come in that way. So we began talking with our finance team and leaders just about how to engage the congregation, because we know we have consistent, faithful givers. So it wasn't that concerned, but we knew that we had taken away this huge way that huge people gave. So that was sort of the impetus for doing that. And so we created this little video, and I love that you mentioned the date, because we made the decision to go only online worship probably 10 days before that. So we created this video and had to sort of wait till the right time to do that. We certainly wanted people to know how to give online, but we also knew with all that was going on, there could be more sensitive and less sensitive times that we could put that out. So I just would say we had that video ready to send out on a Friday in a big church-wide email. And because I can't remember what it was, but whatever happened in the world that day, it didn't seem like the best day for the message from the church to give. But a few days later, we had put together, we've been doing a weekly communication, like I'm sure a lot of churches have, or even more. But we do a weekly Monday communication, and we made this the featured part of it, the upfront part, a video from me. And like you said, it was really simple. I told them what we as a church were continuing to do. I shared with them, which I do every year with the church anyway, say this is how my wife and I give in a recurring way. But I said, this is a time we need you to move towards this. So it was really encouraging. We saw our growth. It went up 16% almost immediately, meaning I think people just saw that video and knew what we were asking. It wasn't a difficult ask. Or
recurring giving, or are you talking about online giving or recurring giving specifically? Because that was a big part of what you were inviting them to do.
Right. Online recurring giving went up 16%.
Just like you saying, My wife and I do it, and we're encouraging you to consider doing that.
Yeah, and I think the ask made sense, right? Like the timing, people knew, even if they've been committed to writing a check. Like we don't have a check in our home, so I don't know I don't know how that works, but uh, you know, we had that many people move over to that immediately. And then we've certainly had a number of people do kind of one time get, I don't have that number right in front of me, but I know it's 30 or so folks in the first week or so used online giving for the first time, even though they didn't set up a reoccurring gift.
Right, right. That's spectacular. So
Yeah.
there's some real fruit in just asking, saying to people, we need your help. Think about doing this.
Yeah. Again, it was a big encouragement. To us, and we had our finance meeting actually last night, and we realized that a bunch of people are mailing those checks in too. And so it's both sides of that. We were just trying to make sure people understood how they could continue to give. At this point, it wasn't saying we need more money, we're in a pinch, anything like that. It was just the mechanism for how we give has really changed, and we want to make sure you're informed on that. We have a lot of older members of our church. Our church is located right across the street from a very, very large retirement community. And so we hear regularly, technological concerns and that kind of thing. So the video, it shows you, how to click and where to click and what to type in. We also gave information about who could be contacted. Some of our folks wanted to just talk to a person to walk them through that. So we're just trying to make it as accessible as possible. One of the things I wish I'd done better in the video, that was some of the things that had changed in the time since we made it, was really just acknowledging how many people's financial situation has changed in this. So if you were to see the video, there's like it comes up in print on the screen. It's because we'd already made the video, but we wanted to make sure we have people right now that I think can give more than they could give in the past, and we have people that can't give as much as they could give.
And
Sure.
basically just acknowledging that every circumstance is different. So
That's right.
your year-to-date giving, through this past Sunday, you just had a finance meeting, so maybe y'all talked about this, but how is your 2020 giving with more than a month of COVID-19
Yeah.
match up to your 2019 giving?
Yeah, it's really remarkable. We did just look at that. So even halfway through April now, we are tracking ahead of where we were last year. So we really haven't seen a huge impact from this financially yet. We think that's coming because some of that is sort of has a lag on it. But we ended March over budget, and the report last night was through the middle of April. We had 55% of what we'll need for April, and I think we were like 50% of the way through the month. So we're seeing people continue to give. And again, there's been some shifts in that. We know of some people. So in the same way we know how many recurring gifts have started, we also know that some that have stopped. It's a smaller number. It's only a handful, but those are faithful people who had made a commitment to give every month who are not able to do that right now. And we've had
Right.
some other givers step up and give one larger gifts in this time. Yeah.
There are pastors and church leaders who are finding it difficult to inspire financial generosity during this different kind of season. And how would you encourage church leaders at this time who are struggling financially?
Yeah, I was thinking about that just this morning because I was communicating. We have another campus for our church in the east part of Nashville, and I was talking to our campus pastor, and we were just realizing that more now than usual, I think it's sort of incumbent upon the pastor or the senior pastor to be communicating clearly about it. So we don't usually in a worship service. I mean, we have our normal giving moment and talk about some things, but we're talking more about it, and it doesn't. It seems fitting to me. So this Sunday, as my sermon is starting, I'm going to give some updates on where we're at financially. I never do that, but in this world right now, I wouldn't say I would never do that, but I don't do that regularly like that, where I would literally say, here's where we are in our monthly budget. But people are thinking about finances. People are seeing all the financial information in the news. People are applying for payment protection, or, payroll protection grants, small business. So for us as the church to kind of let people know where we are. And I like to communicate in a positive way. I don't want to make anything up, but I feel like people are more likely to give to a positive vision than they are to say, we need this much money to keep the light bill on. So what I'll be sharing this Sunday is some ways that people have been generous with us. I'm sharing how the North Texas Conference gave us $25,000 for tornado relief and how we turned that right around into our community. So that even has nothing to do with, our giving. And then I'm going to thank the church for how they've given in this time. This will be our 6th week of not meeting, and I'm just going to tell them we are right on track and even above that. And I think that generates more. So that would be my encouragement, to communicate in a positive way if you can, but maybe more than you usually are. That's what I'm doing.
Jacob, is there anything else that you can think of that would offer encouragement to others who are listening in?
I do just offer, a word of thanks to you, Don, and Horizons. I shared with you earlier in the week on a call that a lot of things I'm talking about here, I learned from you guys in the process of doing a capital campaign. I learned from Cliff Christopher's book, Not Your Parents' Offering Plate. I read that as a 27-year-old church planter and did those things, and they work. And I think they work because they're grounded in the biblical principles, and the Spirit can move in it. So thanks to you guys for all. I've been reading everything you've been putting out, watching the videos, and I'm grateful for your ministry.
Well, I'm grateful for you, Jacob. Thank you for sitting down with me virtually today, and thank you for your life. Thank you for your ministry and the inspiration that you are to me, brother.